Hello, everyone. Welcome to Learn English Podcast.
My husband's secret wife. Learn English through story. Liza was a young woman full of dreams, hope, and love. She believed in happiness and in a life filled with laughter. She had a kind husband and they shared many beautiful moments together. Every morning, Liza woke up with a smile, thinking about her life and her husband. She made breakfast for him, cleaned the house, and waited for him to come home. She loved to see him smile, to hear his voice, and to feel that she was loved. But one day, everything changed. Liza discovered something she could never imagine. She found out that her husband had another wife. At first, she could not believe it. She thought, this cannot be true. He cannot hide this from me. We are married. We promised each other love. Liza's heart began to hurt in a way she had never felt before. She cried, screamed, and sat alone in her room for hours. Every memory she had of her husband felt different now. Every smile, every hug, every kiss suddenly felt like a lie. She asked herself, why did he hide this from me? Did he ever love me? Am I not enough? Liza felt anger, sadness, fear, and confusion all at once. She could not sleep at night. She could not eat in the morning. She felt trapped in the world of pain. But deep inside, Liza had a small flame of courage. She decided that she must find the truth. She must face the reality, no matter how painful. Liza asked her husband questions. He answered slowly, carefully, but every answer broke her heart a little more. Liza learned about the other woman. She wanted to hate her. She wanted to run away. But when she met her, she saw a human being, someone who was also scared, also alone, also searching for love and understanding. Liza felt a strange mix of anger and sympathy. She realized that life is complicated. People make mistakes. Love is not simple. Liza's pain was great, but she also discovered a new lesson. Forgiveness is not easy, but it is powerful. Every day, she tried to heal herself. She wrote in her diary, she spoke to her friends, she walked in the park, she listened to music, she watched the sunrise. Slowly, she began to find small moments of happiness again. She smiled when she did not think she could. She laughed when she thought it was impossible. Liza realized that happiness is not a perfect life. Happiness is finding peace inside yourself. Her journey was long, full of tears, confusion, pain, and doubt, but it was also full of courage, hope, love, and learning. Liza learned to be strong. She learned to be kind to herself. She learned to forgive others, even when it was very hard. Her heart was broken, but it became stronger. She learned that love is not only about promises and marriage. Love is about understanding, patience, compassion, and self-respect. Liza's life was no longer perfect, but it was real. And in reality, she found the greatest treasure of all, herself. And every day, Liza reminded herself that she is strong, that she is capable, that she is enough. Every night, she prayed for peace, for love, and for understanding. Liza's journey was not only about her husband's secret, it was about her own heart, her own courage, and her own growth. She learned to forgive herself, to forgive others, and to open her heart again. She learned that life is not always fair, but it can be beautiful when we choose to see the light. Liza's story is long, and every moment is important. Every feeling, every tear, every smile, every word is part of the lesson. Liza's pain became her teacher. Her sorrow became her guide. And as she moved forward step by step, she felt a small spark of joy, a small spark of hope that one day everything will be okay. She will love again. She will laugh again. She will live again. And she will carry with her all the lessons of her journey, all the emotions, all the experiences, all the moments that made her who she is. Liza's heart is strong. Her spirit is brave. Her life is real. And in reality, she found the greatest treasure of all, herself. And after the first days of shock and endless tears, Liza realized that she had to face the reality no matter how painful it was. She could not hide from life, and she could not hide from herself. She woke up each morning with a heavy heart, but she forced herself to get out of bed, to wash her face, and to prepare breakfast as if the world were still normal. Sometimes she spilled the tea or forgot to light the stove, and she laughed quietly at herself because she remembered that she was still human. She began to write every thought in her diary, every emotion, every memory of her husband, every question that filled her mind. Writing helped her release the anger, the sadness, the fear, and the confusion. She wrote about the first time she met her husband, the first time he smiled at her, the first time she felt that their love was unbreakable. And she wrote about the day she discovered the secret wife, about the moment when her heart shattered, and the nights when sleep would not come. She also wrote about small things, how the morning sun touched her window, how the birds sang outside, how the wind felt gentle on her face. Slowly, she realized that life was not only about heartbreak. Life was about noticing the little moments, even in pain. Liza started to talk to her friends about her feelings. At first, it was hard. She was afraid they would judge her or that they would not understand. But when she spoke, she found comfort. Her friends listened, they hugged her, they shared their own stories of sadness and learning. Liza realized that no one is alone in pain and that sharing feelings can make the burden lighter. She began to understand that even though her life had changed forever, she still had the power to choose how she lived. Every day, Liza tried to do small things for herself. She walked slowly in the park, feeling the grass under her feet. She watched the sunset, painting the sky with orange and pink colors. And she whispered to herself that tomorrow could be a better day. She cooked meals she liked. She listened to music that calmed her heart. And sometimes she danced alone in her living room, pretending that the sadness would leave with every step. Liza met the secret wife several times, and each meeting was a storm of emotions. She felt anger, jealousy, pain, but also curiosity. She wanted to understand why her husband had another wife. She wanted to understand what kind of woman she was. And when she looked into the other woman's eyes, she saw sadness, fear, and loneliness just like her own. Liza realized that the world is complicated people, people who make mistakes, people who hide secrets, but also people who are human, just like her. Slowly, she learned to separate the anger from the understanding. She began to see that forgiving someone doesn't mean accepting what they did, but it means freeing her own heart from hatred and pain. Each day, Liza practiced patience with herself and others. She learned to breathe deeply when sadness came, to smile when tears tried to fall, and to speak gently when anger arose. Her heart was still heavy, but it was growing stronger. She discovered that strength is not about never feeling pain, but about feeling it and continuing to live. Liza also began to think about her future. She wanted to find new dreams, new hopes, new goals. She remembered that before she married, she had dreams of traveling, learning new things, and helping others. Now, even after heartbreak, she could still pursue those dreams. Every small step she took became an act of courage. Every morning she woke up and faced the day, she became braver. Every time she smiled, even when it was difficult, she became stronger. And every time she remembered the love that hurt her, she chose to learn from it, not to be destroyed by it. Liza realized that her story was not only about sadness, it was also about growth, about learning, about discovering the depth of her own heart. She wrote in her diary every night about what she had learned that day, how to forgive, how to understand, how to love herself, and how to live with hope. She remembered that every emotion she felt was valid, and that it was okay to feel sadness, anger, fear, and confusion. And she also remembered that joy, laughter, love, and peace were still possible, even in a broken world. Liza's days became a mixture of emotions, but she was slowly learning to balance them. She found that the small joys, sunlight through the window, a kind word from a friend, the taste of her favorite tea, were like pieces of light in the darkness. And as she collected these pieces, her heart began to heal, just a little, day by day. Liza's story teaches us that even when life is unfair, even when people hurt us, even when secrets break our hearts, we can still grow, we can still learn, and we can still find happiness. Liza's life was no longer perfect, but it was real. And in reality, she found the most important treasure, herself. And every day, Liza reminded herself that life goes on, love goes on, and hope goes on, as long as she chooses to keep moving, to keep feeling, to keep learning, and to keep believing that better days will come. As the days turned into weeks, Liza continued her journey of healing and understanding. Every morning, she woke up with a mixture of sadness and hope. She remembered the first time she met her husband, how his smile had made her heart flutter, how his laughter had filled the room with warmth, and how she had believed in their perfect love. Now that memory brought both tears and lessons. She thought about what love really meant, how people can make mistakes, and how forgiveness can be the key to peace. Liza began to practice small routines that made her feel stronger. She made her bed carefully, washed her face with cold water, drank a cup of tea slowly, and repeated to herself, "I am strong. I am brave. I am enough." Each morning, she added small steps, reading a short story in English, walking around her neighborhood, smiling at strangers, or helping someone in need. These little actions reminded her that life was bigger than her pain. One day, she decided to confront her husband again. She asked him questions calmly, trying not to shout or cry. She wanted the truth, and she wanted to understand the other woman. Her husband told her about the past, his mistakes, his fears, and why he had kept the secret. Liza listened carefully, even when each word made her heart ache. She realized that understanding does not mean accepting, and forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means giving yourself freedom. Liza's friends continued to support her. They invited her for tea, for walks, and for small celebrations. At first, she felt awkward, as if happiness was forbidden. But slowly, she joined them. She learned that joy can return even after heartbreak, and that she was allowed to feel it. Liza also spent time with the secret wife. At first, their meetings were tense, full of silence, anger, and sadness. But over time, they began to talk, not about the husband, but about life, dreams, and fears. Liza realized that the other woman was not her enemy. She was just another human being lost in her own struggles. Liza began to practice patience and empathy, of seeing beyond anger and understanding the pain of others. She practiced patience and compassion daily, not only toward others, but also toward herself. She forgave herself for feeling weak, for crying too much, for being hurt, and for needing time to heal. She realized that healing is a journey, not a race, and that every small step is progress. Liza remembered her dreams from before marriage, traveling, learning new skills, helping people in need. She decided to slowly start pursuing them. She signed up for a small English course, practiced speaking, and read simple books. She kept a journal in English, writing about her thoughts, feelings, and daily life. Each word she wrote became a small victory, each sentence a sign of growth. Liza felt proud of herself for trying, for learning, and for moving forward despite pain. She also remembered the little joys of life, watching the sunrise, listening to birds, smelling fresh bread, and feeling the wind on her face. She noticed that these small moments gave her comfort, reminded her of beauty in the world, and slowly healed the deep wounds in her heart. Her husband apologized many times, and though Liza still felt hurt, she began to accept that people are not perfect. She saw that love is complicated, that mistakes happen, and that life sometimes requires courage more than comfort. Liza's heart slowly opened to new understanding. She realized that anger and sadness are temporary, that hope is powerful, and that self-respect is the most important form of love. She learned that being strong does not mean hiding tears. It means facing them, feeling them, and learning from them. Every night she wrote in her diary, "I am alive. I am learning. I am growing. I am enough." These words became her mantra, her shield, her promise to herself. Weeks turned into months, and Liza began to notice change. She smiled more, laughed more, and started to feel a sense of peace she had not known for a long time. She visited the park regularly, feeding birds, walking slowly, and noticing the life around her. She talked to neighbors, helped a small child with homework, and even volunteered at a local charity. Each action made her feel useful, alive, and capable. She discovered that helping others can heal yourself, that giving love can restore hope, and that kindness is stronger than anger. Liza's relationship with the secret wife evolved too. They began to share moments of friendship, small conversations, and understanding. Liza realized that enemies are often misunderstood friends, and that compassion is the strongest form of power. She also noticed her own growth. She was no longer the young woman who cried endlessly in her room. She was stronger, wiser, and more patient. She learned to speak calmly, listen carefully, and make decisions without rushing. Liza's story teaches that life can hurt deeply, but pain is not the end. Life can be beautiful after heartbreak. The journey is long, filled with tears, confusion, and anger, but also with courage, hope, and love. Each step matters. Every emotion is important. And as Liza moved forward, she felt that the light of hope was brighter than the shadow of pain. She promised herself to live fully, to embrace each day, to love herself, and to never forget the lessons of her journey. Life is not perfect, but it is real. And in reality, she discovered the greatest treasure: her own strength, courage, and heart. Liza remembered the first time she met her husband in the small cafe near her school. He had smiled at her in a way that made her heart beat faster, and she had felt warmth and happiness she had never felt before. She remembered the way he had held her hand, the way he had laughed at her small jokes, and the way he had made her feel special. Those memories now brought both sweetness and pain. She realized that life is full of contradictions: joy and sorrow, love and betrayal, hope and heartbreak. Each day, Liza replayed these memories in her mind, sometimes crying, sometimes smiling softly, and sometimes just sitting quietly, thinking about life and how fragile it can be. She began to talk to herself gently, saying, "It is okay to feel sad. It is okay to cry. It is okay to be hurt. But I am strong. I am brave. I can move forward." Liza also remembered the first fight she had with her husband. It was small at the time, about little things like forgetting keys or spilling tea, but it had felt enormous. She realized now that every small disagreement, every small moment of tension was part of life, and that learning to forgive and understand others was more important than being right. She spoke to her friends about these memories, sharing both laughter and sadness. They listened carefully, hugged her, and reminded her that life is full of ups and downs, but love, friendship, and hope can guide us through. One evening, Liza walked in the park as the sun set. The sky was painted with orange, pink, and purple colors, and the wind was soft on her face. She felt tears rolling down her cheeks, not from sadness, but from relief and understanding. She whispered to herself, "I am alive. I am learning. I am growing. I am enough." She saw a small child playing nearby, smiling without worry, and she felt a spark of joy. She realized that life continues, no matter what has happened, and that she had the choice to live fully, to find happiness in small moments, and to appreciate the world around her. Liza decided to write more in her diary. She wrote about her feelings, her memories, and the lessons she had learned. She practiced English by writing simple sentences, repeating words like hope, love, strength, and peace. Each sentence became a small victory, each word a step forward in her healing journey. She also began to speak English with her friends, practicing conversations about daily life, feelings, and experiences. Sometimes it was difficult, sometimes she made mistakes, but she laughed at herself and continued, knowing that learning and growing are part of life. Liza also remembered the secret wife again. She realized that the other woman was not a villain. She was a human being with fears, pain, and dreams. She began to feel compassion, seeing that everyone makes mistakes, and that understanding is stronger than anger. She met the secret wife in a cafe one rainy afternoon. They spoke slowly, carefully about life, about dreams, about pain, and about hopes for the future. Liza felt tears come, but this time they were gentle, not destructive. She realized that forgiveness and empathy bring freedom to the heart. Liza's husband noticed her change. He saw that she was no longer the young, hurt woman who cried every night. She was stronger, calmer, and wiser. They spoke together, carefully rebuilding communication, not for the past, but for the present and for the future. Liza still felt sadness, but she also felt hope. She understood that love is not perfect, but love can teach, heal, and guide us if we allow ourselves to learn. Every day she practiced small acts of courage, waking up, speaking to friends, practicing English, walking in the park, helping others, and smiling even when it was hard. Each act strengthened her heart, reminding her that she is capable of surviving and thriving. Liza also remembered that life is not only about her pain. She noticed beauty everywhere: the flowers in the garden, the songs of birds, the kindness of strangers, and the warmth of the sun. She learned that noticing these things brings peace to the heart. She spoke to herself each morning, repeating, "I am enough. I am loved. I am learning. I am growing." These words became her shield and her guide. As months passed, Liza found more courage to follow her old dreams. She joined a small English club, started reading stories, and even helped teach younger children simple English words. Each smile, each conversation, each small success gave her strength. She felt proud of herself for trying, for learning, for living. Liza's story is long, full of emotions, and full of lessons. It teaches that even when life hurts, even when people betray us, even when secrets break our hearts, we can still grow, heal, and find joy. Every day matters. Every feeling matters. Every small step matters. Liza's life is not perfect, but it is real. She learned that strength comes from facing pain, that love is about understanding and forgiveness, and that hope is the most powerful force of all. She smiled at herself in the mirror, remembering the young woman who once cried endlessly, and she felt gratitude for the woman she had become. Liza's heart is strong, her spirit is brave, and her life is full of lessons, love, and hope. She knows that the journey continues, that challenges will come, but she is ready. She is ready to face tomorrow, to embrace new experiences, to continue learning, to love herself, and to find happiness in every small moment. Liza's story teaches that even after heartbreak, even after betrayal, life continues, and so does hope, so does love, so does courage, and so does the human spirit. After months of pain, confusion, and endless tears, Liza finally felt a calm in her heart that she had never known before. She realized that life is not perfect, and people are not perfect, but the journey of living, learning, and loving is what makes life beautiful. She had faced heartbreak, betrayal, and secrets, yet she discovered strength she never knew she had. She learned that forgiveness is a gift to herself, that empathy can transform anger into understanding, and that happiness comes from choosing hope every single day. Liza smiled as she remembered her tears, her fears, and her lonely nights, because now she knew that every painful moment had taught her something valuable. She had rebuilt herself, slowly, step by step, and in that process, she had found her true self, a brave, kind, compassionate, and strong woman who can face the world with courage. She continued to practice small joys, walking in the park, reading stories, speaking English, helping others, and finding beauty in the little things. She had learned that life is a mix of sorrow and joy, mistakes and lessons, endings and new beginnings. Her love story with her husband was no longer simple, but it was real, and it had taught her how to love wisely, deeply, and fully. She understood that true happiness does not come from others, but from embracing oneself, from feeling deeply, from learning, and from choosing hope even when life seems hard. Liza whispered to herself, "I am enough. I am strong. I am loved. I am growing." And in that quiet moment, she realized that her heart, once broken, had become whole again, filled with courage, wisdom, and endless hope. Her journey was over, yet it was also just the beginning of a new life, one where she could love, dream, laugh, and live fully, no matter what challenges came her way. Liza's story is a reminder to everyone that life will test us, pain will reach us, but the human spirit is stronger than sorrow, and hope is brighter than despair. She had learned that every tear, every heartbreak, and every struggle was a step toward strength, self-discovery, and happiness. And now, with a heart open and free, Liza was ready to embrace the beautiful journey ahead with love, courage, and endless hope.